I am the epiphany of the American spirit.
Greetings, my fellow horror fiends. I'm Vic the Horror Curator, and welcome to my Horror Vault. Today we're going to dive into one of the most unapologetically brutal and most unforgettable films in horror film history, Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects. Personally, this is a film that I don't just admire as a horror fan. This is a film that I absolutely love. From its grimy atmosphere and unforgettable characters to its raw brutality and outlaw spirit, The Devil's Rejects represents everything I appreciate about extreme horror filmmaking. For the uninitiated, this film is an absolute trip. Released in 2005 as the follow-up to Rob Zombie's House of 1000 Corpses, this film takes the twisted Firefly family and removes the surreal, carnival-like insanity of its predecessor, replacing it with something far more grounded, savage, and disturbing. Instead of feeling like a dark horror comic book, which is basically what House of 1000 Corpses was, The Devil's Rejects feels like we're following a group of real-life monsters as they tear through a world that is just as cruel and unforgiving as they are. One of the greatest strengths of this film and what elevates this film to legendary status in my mind are the unforgettable characters. I'm talking about none other than Captain Spaulding, Otis Driftwood, and Baby Firefly. They are some of the most memorable villains in horror cinema by far. They are disgusting, depraved, and completely unpredictable, yet Rob Zombie crafts them with such twisted charisma that you can't look away and can't help yourself but root for them. The actors who brought these characters to life should be lauded for their performances, and they have cemented their legacy within the horror community. I'm talking about Bill Moseley, who delivers a career-defining performance as Otis Driftwood, creating a character who is absolutely terrifying because of how unpredictable he is. I mean, Otis isn't a supernatural monster or a mass killer. He's something far more frightening, a human being with no empathy, no remorse, and no fucking boundaries. Sheri Moon Zombie's portrayal as Baby Firefly is a living contradiction. I absolutely love it. It brings a combination of innocence, insanity, absolute beauty, and pure fucking chaos. She transforms Baby into one of horror's most fascinating characters, a person who can go from playful and energetic to absolutely horrifying in an instant. And then, of course, there's Sid Haig, a legendary actor who I can recall from my childhood watching Spider Baby and how his character in that film really resonated with me in my youth. But Captain Spaulding, what an unbelievable performance. It remains one of the most iconic horror characters of all time. His presence, his personality, and his dark sense of humor make him unforgettable. The chemistry, though, between these three characters creates one of the most twisted family dynamics ever put on screen. But what truly makes The Devil's Rejects stand apart from the average horror film is Rob Zombie's unique filmmaking style, which is exclusively his own. This film has a gritty, almost documentary-like quality to it. The dusty landscapes, the grimy locations, the classic rock soundtrack, and the 1970s exploitation influence create an atmosphere that feels like a lost piece of outlaw cinema. Devil's Rejects isn't just a film about violence for violence sake. Beneath the veneer of sadistic delight that you constantly see, the brutality that's on one frame after another, there's a fascinating exploration of evil, survival, and the blurred line between victim and villains. Rob Zombie doesn't ask us to forgive his characters or any of that, but he does force us to watch them as human beings rather than just simple monsters. The Devil's Rejects is a film that definitely pays tribute to the exploitation and grindhouse cinema of the past, especially the early to mid-70s, but it also adds a modern emotional weight to it. The final moments are haunting, to say the least, because for a brief moment, these horrific characters become almost tragic figures facing the consequences of their actions. I mean, obviously, The Devil's Rejects is not a film for everyone. It is violent, it is disturbing, it is relentless, and doesn't give a shit. It kicks you right in the fucking nuts and goes hard. But for fans of extreme horror, exploitation cinema, and unforgettable and unforgiving villainous characters, this movie is an absolute masterpiece. For me, this is one of Rob Zombie's finest achievements and a standard bearer for his filmmaking style, and one of the greatest examples of modern grindhouse-inspired horror. It has atmosphere, memorable performances, incredible music, practical effects, and a fearless commitment to its dark vision, which I applaud them for. After revisiting this brutal journey with the Firefly family, my final verdict is crystal clear. The Devil's Rejects get 10 out of 10 severed heads from me. A savage, stylish, unforgettable piece of horror cinema that continues to leave its mark nearly 2 decades after its release. I'm Vic the Horror Curator. If you enjoyed this video, press that like button and follow me for the latest in horror news, reviews, retrospectives, and perspectives on the horror genre that we love every day and live it as a way of life.